What is up, everybody? We welcome you to SportsShack. My name is Brian Natali. Along with Dennis Tui. We're here to bring you the best topics and serve you the best sports takes in the sports world. Whether you want your appetizers or you want your entrees, we got it coming for you. There's a lot going on in the sports world. Luka Doncic, no longer a Dallas Maverick. Never thought I would ever say that in the year 2025. Josh Allen finally getting an MVP. Eli Manning snubbed out of the Hall of Fame. The first ballot, not surprised. What else? Myles Garrett requesting a trade. Pete Alonso finally signing back with the Mets. That I'm ecstatic for. I know Dennis is going to be excited to hear me talk about that. And so, yeah, I know. I feel like that'll be a good entree. Pete Alonso coming back to the Mets. So that I'm really excited for. But first, and also Super Bowl predictions, what we think is going to go down, what we're excited for, and who we think is going to win. That Super Bowl weekend, it's like a holiday to me. It's in New Orleans. Hopefully one day I'll go to the Super Bowl, whether it's the Jets are in it or another team. I doubt I'll probably go because it's a lot of cha-ching. That's, I can't say I got Scrooge McDuck type money, but if I did, you'd see me down the Super Bowl hanging out with some big celebrities that are down there. I don't know, but either way, would be cool. Maybe you'll see me up there handling the Lombardi Trophy.
Maybe.
But Dennis, I gotta hear your thoughts. A lot of stuff going on right now, especially in the NBA. A lot of people are saying now that this is a way for Adam Silver to kind of boost up ratings, which I was news to me. I didn't know that basketball had a rating decline, but
you didn't?
I thought it was doing better. I
don't know. I'm not even gonna hazard a guess as to what the ratings are or anymore.
Like I said, I thought it was doing better. Maybe like I said, maybe I guess I was wrong with that. I don't know how this would help in any sort of way, but obviously, the big trade of probably the deadline as the deadline came and went today. Luka Doncic gets traded from the Dallas Mavericks and is now a Los Angeles Laker. Anthony Davis was shipped over in that deal as well, as he is now heading to Dallas. Those are the two big headliners in the trade. So now, Dennis, my question for you is, in your opinion, do you think this is the biggest shocker of a trade you've ever seen, not just in the NBA, but in sports? And then how does this affect the league? How does this affect not only both teams, but affect the league in a sort of way? Because I feel like this trade definitely has some big implications on the NBA.
The Lakers basically got handed Luka Doncic. They didn't shop him around. I mean, it is the biggest trade malpractice since Babe Ruth.
Oh.
I would argue it's worse than the Babe Ruth trade.
I think that's
it's worse than Herschel Walker.
It
is probably the worst ever.
That's pretty high up there, though, Dennis. Yeah, I did not think I was going to hear. I mean, I see what you're getting at, but just to hear that name, Babe Ruth and Luka Doncic.
Yeah, it's probably worse than that. I saw Red Sox fans, because they always got to make it about them. The tortured Boston sports fans who've had nothing but championships for 20 effing years. Oh, cry me a river. Always has to make it about them. It's this is how he felt during the Mookie Betts thing. Really? You got a ring with Mookie Betts. What are you mad about at that point in time? I get it. You lost him. But at that time, you still had Devers and you still had, what's his name? Bogarts.
Right, but back to Dallas, though. Either way.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I can't think of another trade that's even half as bad as this. They didn't shop him around.
Yeah.
They didn't shop him around.
That's definitely what
dude, do you know, it came out that they made another trade to get, who is it, Mark Williams from the Hornets? I forget the guy's name, to be honest with you. Not plugged in on the Hornets. Yeah. But so offhand, I want to double check that I get the right name. Yeah. But it was Mark Williams. Apparently, Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, the first round pick swap, the 2030 first round pick swap, and the 2031 unprotected first round pick, the Hornets got. The Lakers set aside for the Luka Doncic trade. So they literally got Luka Doncic for pennies on the dollar. This is the worst trade in the history of sports. If Luka doesn't play a second for the Lakers, it's the worst trade in the history of sports. Because think of how much more you could have gotten. Because too many times we just look at championships, wins, losses. Think of the value. Think of the regular basic value.
No, I think it's definitely
It's
definitely a big
horrible.
shocker. It's
Definitely
it
in terms of
depends whether you're looking at it.
surprising, that I can't speak to. There's too many sports and too many things I just don't know. But what I can say is in the 21st century, nothing's even an eighth as surprising as this was.
It's definitely a big shocker. Like I said,
Shams himself, the guy who broke the story, thought that it was like a rib. He thought it was like a joke. Like he got like there's a hack or something like that. That it
something
wasn't
going on.
right.
Yeah, like it's AI generated. A lot of people didn't believe it. I remember I literally woke up in the
This is insane, dude.
I literally woke up in the middle of the night. I was watching the Knicks Lakers. So funny enough, I don't think Anthony Davis was playing, but I fell asleep. I woke up in my den. It was 12 o'clock, and that's when the notifications started coming in. I was like, "What?" Like half asleep. I had no idea what was going on. Now, looking at the Lakers' perspective, I don't know what's going on with LeBron, but whether Luka stays there for the next couple of years or not, they got a potential piece for the future. So I don't know how some people could say the Lakers didn't win this trade.
If anybody says the Lakers didn't win this trade, they're just lying to you. Dude, I don't even think the Dallas Mavericks think they won this trade.
I don't know what they think they're getting out of Anthony Davis, though. I don't know what was.
This is the dumbest trade in the history of sports.
It definitely is because, like you said, like they didn't shop him around. They didn't get the most value for him they probably could get.
No, of course not.
So what was the point? It just there's a lot of questions that need to be asked, and it's mind-boggling though. Out of all the teams, though, why the Lakers? That's the thing that's definitely interesting because, like I said, instead of getting one first-round pick, you could have got 4, and then probably a haul. Like I said, and especially this is like a key player to the franchise, where a Mavericks fan, a lot of them protested outside the arena. Now that they want them to sell the team, he could have potentially had a statue. What?
They just bought it too, that ownership group.
They could have potentially had a statue next to Dirk Nowitzki outside the stadium.
And he said in his press conference, he didn't know he was going to be traded. He wasn't talked about for being traded, and he was planning on re-signing. Chandler Parsons, because Mark Cuban is a minority owner now, supposedly Chandler Parsons texted Mark Cuban and said, "I don't understand this trade." And Mark Cuban replied with, "This is an owner of the team, a minority owner, but an owner of the team," replied with, "That makes 2 of us." As much as you want to just drag Dallas through the mud right now, not enough. This is horrible. Like they literally just handed the Lakers a potential championship window. Horrible.
It's very horrible.
It's so bad it's funny.
Yes, it's bizarre.
Like when I first saw it, I kind of laughed a bit. I was like, "This is the worst trade I've ever seen."
Yeah, because like you said,
this wouldn't even get accepted in a fantasy league
or NBA 2K.
Yeah, and people were posting that.
Do you think a lot of the ways there has to be a way that they wanted to trade him? If this is out of the blue, and then some people need to get checked.
No, because nothing's coming out. It's like, well, Luka might not be in good shape. Then send him to Jenny Craig's. He might be an alcoholic. Great. Does the Lakers know that? Like every excuse under the sun just responds with yeah, but they still could have gotten more. Yeah, but they still could have gotten more. Yeah, but they still could have gotten more. So it's a dumb trade.
Yeah, no, it's
And like I said, if Luka doesn't play a second for the Lakers, it's a bad trade for Dallas.
I wonder how Dallas is going to be because now they got Kyrie and they got Clay, and so Anthony Davis. I don't know how they feel like they're going to run it back,
Clay isn't
run
even
it through the NBA.
Clay's
Like how do they think that's going to work?
Clay's barely even a starter anymore. He's horrible. He's bad. He's bad. You watch him, he's bad. He can't guard the way he used to. Shooting's not what it used to be. He's bad. He probably shouldn't even be starting. If they're if on a better team, he's not starting. Anthony Davis, he's been healthy this year and he's played excellent this year, but he's 30, might be 31 at the end of this year. I forget offhand. And Kyrie, you never know what you're going to get with him. I feel like the Kyrie Irving social media doomsday clock, it's been suspiciously stuck for a while. It's got to go down at some point. You just know that there's got to be something. It's got to be something. And Anthony Davis is also his doomsday clock of Anthony Davis hasn't had a stupid injury in the longest time. There's got to be something. Something's got to be on the horizon.
Yes, someone's got to be coming.
I don't know.
Yeah, but hey, I think that's how we all feel about the Luka trade. Another big trade that happened was obviously Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
finally getting traded out of Miami. One of your favorite players in the league.
My favorite
now
player,
he's a Golden State Warrior. In a 5-team blockbuster trade that it finally was official today. A lot of people were quite, saying it wasn't official yet. So hey, don't get too excited. But yes, Jimmy Butler will be paired with Draymond and Steph in the Bay Area. So obviously with Steve Kerr as the coach, it's definitely interesting to see. I know he also took a 2-year, $121 million extension. Whoa. Like, shoot, man, I want that Scrooge McDuck type money. But yeah, that's definitely how to trade. So I just wonder how he fits into that system though, with Steph and Draymond. Do they think they're going to be able to run it back now?
They can think whatever they want. I can tell you they're still a first round exit. Dude, their entire roster is 3 aging guys that if one of them gets hurt, their entire season collapses. When has that ever worked in any sport? I just that was stupid. That you're never do a trade to sell jerseys. Never do that.
They gave up a lot to sell jerseys. The Heat.
They gave up Dennis Schroeder, who's actually been pretty good for them. Andrew Wiggins. All right, I think at that point he's probably on the decline. Fine. Kyle Anderson, he's okay. A pick. I don't know. I don't know what the Raptors are doing either. I'm lost for it too. Pistons actually liked what they did. They got Dennis Schroeder and Lindy Waters in there. Not bad. Yeah, I don't.
That's all you got for the Jimmy Butler trade?
Yeah, that's all I got. What do you want me to say? I mean, between the 3 of them, how many games are they going to play? And Steph is an all-star this year. He shouldn't be. Him being an all-star over Devin Booker, just look at the stats. Shouldn't be. So he's not having a bad season. By his standards, he is, but those are high standards. I'm not going to kill him for it. Especially, like I said, like the team around him wasn't the best, but this doesn't really improve them. They're literally a worse version of the Suns right now, is what they are. They're a worse version of the Suns.
Okay.
We have 2 pretty good players, or in the Suns' case, 2 excellent players, which is why they're worse. And we have kind of you don't know what you're getting, day-to-day guy, and Draymond and Bradley Beal, respectively. And then a hodgepodge of role players that are on cheap deals. And if you pass them through waivers, teams wouldn't really look at them twice. Yeah, there's a few guys mixed in here or there, but overall, it's the same concept. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And for that much money for an aging Jimmy Butler who's injury prone, that's just stupid.
There's a lot of things we don't get in today's sports world, especially in the NBA. But what's going on right now? There's definitely been a lot of trades that's been going on. This is definitely an interesting trade deadline that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, last year it was like nothing. Everybody was waiting for stuff to happen, and it was just nothing. It wound up being like, oh, Bojan Bogdanovic got traded. Wow, that was the big highlight last year. It was like, where does Bogdanovic go? It's like, wow, slow news week. He actually got Bogdan got traded for Terrence Mann and Bones Highland, and for 3 second-round picks and Bogdan Bogdanovic. Yeah, you'll take that one. I have to say, I really liked a trade. I liked the most is probably the Spurs getting De'Aaron Fox. That's a really good trade for them. He picked the Spurs, so you know he's going to want to re-sign there. You have a point guard for Wemby. I know he's not a true point guard, but they've talked a lot about how De'Aaron Fox is a lefty. Sabonis was a lefty, so at times, lobs and things like that were a little awkward between them because they're coming from the same side. Wemby doesn't have that issue, so he can be more of a pass first point guard and run different kinds of plays or whatever. It's just a more fluid offense. It's kind of one of those minor things that often get overlooked, but matter a lot to players and strategy and tendencies. So I like it a lot. And De'Aaron Fox is obviously De'Aaron Fox. He's a borderline all NBA guy year after year. So hey, good job by them. If you're the Spurs and you get back Zach LaVine, I'm sure some Kings fans, are happy having Zach LaVine. I'm very low on Zach LaVine. I'm probably the lowest you'll find. All right, stats are good. I don't know if he can, guard you or me, to be honest. And he's another one. He's due any day now for a dumb injury that's going to take him out for 18 months. So I don't know. I don't get it from their perspective. They got a lot of picks back, but they're not good picks, supposedly. They got 3 first-round picks back and 3 second-round picks back. The Bulls got Zach Collins. Didn't even know he was still in the league. Trey Jones and Kevin Huerter. And a 2025 first-round pick. So I don't really know. Obviously, that was to make salary work, but I'd almost I don't know if I'm the Kings, really give up De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter to get that stuff back because you had to make the salaries work, I guess, for Zach LaVine. But I'm not doing that trade. Yeah, that's too far. Dropped that way too far. So that one I kind of didn't get, but supposedly he said he wasn't going to re-sign in the offseason, so you kind of have to.
Okay, but in definitely terms, I guess, to wrap up the trade deadline talk, I feel like you kind of went over. You kind of answered my question, I feel like, but who do you think are some of the winners and losers in this trade deadline?
The Lakers. They made another trade, too. They made the Mark Williams trade. They needed a center. Good.
Right. I know that they were looking at Mitchell Robinson potentially, but luckily the Knicks didn't have to give him away.
Honestly, I think most Knicks fans would want him away at this point.
Right.
But just because it solves some of your other problems. My team, great move. You know what? No, let me take that back. We got rid of Yusuf Nurkic's awful contract, but we had to give up a first-round pick to do it. And we only have 3 to begin with. So I'm not really thrilled about that. We did get back Cody Martin, who's the considerably worse Martin brother, isn't he? He's worse, but I don't know. Don't know how I feel about that one. And we got this guy who I've never heard of. Vasilij Micic. He's a rookie. Good for him. 7.5 points, 2.4 rebounds, 3.5 assists. Probably going to play like 8 games for us.
All right.
So, and here's a weird one. Memphis sent Marcus Smart to Washington for Marvin Bagley III, Johnny Davis, 2 second-round picks. They gave up Colby Jones, Marcus Smart, Alex Alen, and a 2025 first-round pick. Actually, Alex Alen, I think, may have came from the Kings. They got back Jake LaRavia, who's statistically not that good, but I think they think that maybe they have something. I don't know. Dallas and the Kings, I don't know. They seem to be playing like spy versus spy to see who's just the dumbest team in the league. I give up. Trying to make sense of these anymore. I don't get it. I don't pretend to get it. I give up. These teams should be shamed. What do you want me to say?
You only can do so much.
I actually kind of liked what the Hawks did. They got Karis LeVert and Georges Niang for DeAndre Hunter. They also got some picks in there. That's not bad. I don't know what the Raptors are doing either. It's a whole other story. Reggie Jackson got traded for a player and 4 second-round picks. Good. Reggie Jackson's just going to get bought out, so I don't know the story there. Maybe they just want the first-round pick from Philly. I don't know. But it seems like the 76ers getting a lot of second-round picks makes me think Joel Embiid's probably going to get traded in the offseason.
That's pretty big.
Considering they didn't add anything substantially. Nothing that I've seen. And there's always going to be buyouts and stuff like that, so we never know. Like the Raptors, maybe they buy some guys up. I can't see that. They traded away Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk with a second-round pick and a first-round pick for Brandon Ingram. Truth be told, he's another one who can't play 3 games in a row. I think the first-round pick is almost an overpay. I think Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk is honestly not that unreasonable with a second-round pick. This was a weird one. Your Knicks got Delon Wright. Okay, he's all right. And cash considerations for Jericho Sims, basically.
Right.
And Patrick Baldwin Jr. Was he a Knick before that? No.
No, I don't think so.
He was a Wizard. All right. So you guys... Where was I? Hold on a minute. I hate how it does this. All right. So, you guys got Delon Wright and cash considerations. The Bucks got Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and Jericho Sims with the second-round draft compensation. Kind of weirdly worded. I don't know the difference between that and a draft pick. We'll find out. Washington Wizards got Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, and 2028 first-round pick swap. So Bucks kind of thought, you take the Middleton contract, we'll give you a first-round pick. But it's a pick swap. So if you're the Wizards, what are you going to do? Why would you opt into it? I don't know. 2028, maybe you think you're going to be better than the Bucks by that point, but that's kind of just weird. I don't know. Kyle Kuzma's been pretty bad this year. 15.2 points per game, but he's, the only guy on an awful team. 5.8 rebounds. That's down from last year, and 2.5 assists down from last year. So, kind of weird. And maybe the Kings got Jonas Valanciunas so they can play Dom Sabonis at his natural power forward position. That one I actually don't mind. Wizards got City Sissoko and 2 second-round picks. 2028 second round at 2029 second round. All right. That one's actually not that bad.
Okay. All right. So I guess that wraps up the trade deadline talk.
Yeah, then there's like a lot of minor moves, but nothing, like I said, nothing that I really think is worth talking about. No.
Real quick though, I guess we'll just dive into a quick Pete Alonso, just so we get it out of the way. And I know we've talked about it plenty of times on here before, but finally, Pete Alonso has re-signed with the Mets on a 2-year, $54 million deal. 30 million of it, I was gonna say $30 million, going in the first year, then obviously 24 million in the second year. So, good for him for getting being paid the highest paid baseball player AVA wise this year. Good for the Mets for finally fulfilling the lineup, which is a great lineup so far. Obviously, I'll pull up the lineup in a second. Because like someone said, they had a good lineup. They had a good lineup. Now they have a great lineup now. Adding, Alonso back. If you would have told me in the beginning of the offseason that the Mets would sign Soto and have Alonso back at the same time, I would not believed you. Without adding, obviously AJ Minter, signing back Minaya as well, signing Frankie Montez, bringing back Jesse Winker. I think it's a great offseason. They still need an ace. But either way, I think this was an easy move for them. I'm glad it finally got done. I didn't think it was ever going to get done. I think it's crazy. A couple weeks ago, we said that he wasn't going to come back to the team. Now the fact that they, come back and change things around, and now they finally got a deal done. And so I think it's pretty good, and he's definitely going to shatter some more Mets records as it comes along. And I'm excited to see how – I'm ready for opening day. I'm ready for pitchers and catchers. I'm ready for opening day right now. Now, I'm not going to spend the bread for it, but like I said, I'm glad it finally got done. It took a while. It was, like Steve Cohen said, it was exhausting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to think Scott Boris's time dominating, MLB
Free agency
is coming to an end. But if you remember when free agency first started, I said I don't think he's going to go. I think he has to wind up a Met by default because there's not really a market for first baseman. I was right. Again, I have not been wrong about the Mets and free agency in 2 years. I'm brilliant. I really am. I'm brilliant.
You're very smart.
I'm a genius. I'm, the best at everything ever, and good for me. So there's that. And yeah, you guys got him on a pretty team-friendly deal, all things considered. It's only $54 million for 2 years. And if he opts out after one, you can maybe make a move at Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Right, 100%. Either Vlad Guerrero
That's what
or
everybody's saying. So.
you keep him back. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win for both sides. He gets $30 million this season. The Mets get their third baseman. Mark Vientos doesn't have to move, which I wasn't really much of a fan of. I mean, if they had to do it, they had to do it, but he's not a first baseman. It's like in Moneyball when they try to make Scott Hatteberg to play first base. And Art Howard didn't want him to play first. But yeah, no, like I said, I love the move, and I'm glad it happened. Now, anything else in the baseball, or that's it?
Nothing that I saw that was important. Tim Hill went to the Yankees, but I didn't see much. That Ipe, Otani's translator, was sentenced to 57 months in prison.
I did see that.
No, I don't see anything.
I feel like Otani definitely had to have something involved in this, though. Or am I wrong?
Dude, it would have come out by now. The MLB is the only league that holds their players accountable for anything. It would have come out. No, I shouldn't say that. The NHL does too. But the MLB, dude, come on. Like, they completely destroyed their entire organization over the steroid thing. Like, if that's, you know what I mean? Like, if that's still a hill they die on, I don't know. I can't see them protecting Otani.
Yeah, right. But I feel like real quick we'll dive into the NFL. It's been a lot of news going on. I feel like we should talk about the NFL honors and then we'll get into the Super Bowl. Definitely a good award show. Shout out to Eric Armstead for winning Walter Payton Man of the Year. Josh Allen finally winning MVP. A lot of people thought it was going to go to Josh Allen.
You mean to Lamar?
Lamar. Sorry, my apologies. Kevin O'Connell won Coach of the Year. Jared Verse for Defensive Rookie of the Year, and Patrick Surtain, number 2. The second, being the first cornerback since Stephon Gilmore in 2019 to win Defensive Player of the Year. So good for them. Jaden Daniels won Offensive Player of Rookie of the Year. That was no surprise in my opinion. Saquon won Offensive Player of the Year. No shocker there. Good for Josh Allen. Like
He shouldn't give. Good for Josh Allen, but it should have gone to Saquon Barkley.
Definitely should have gone to Saquon Barkley. The way Saquon Barkley, I know I was having this argument the other day with my coworker. I was saying, Saquon Barkley legit had like a all-pro season, not because he had a Hall of Fame type season, not because of the 2,000 rushing yards, but obviously the 20 touchdowns and the impact that he brought to the team. When people look at MVP, they look at most valuable player. A lot of people pin that award now on the quarterback. It's the most valuable quarterback award, but it really is the most valuable player award. Saquon is that example of that. Saquon is definitely an example of that. Coming over from a rival team, literally transforming the Eagles. I don't know where the Eagles are a good team, but Saquon made them a great team, an insane team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the impact that Saquon's had, and especially the season he's had, I think he's definitely had more than 20 touchdowns. Obviously 2,000 rushing yards. He definitely had the opportunity. If he broke the rushing yard, he definitely would have had MVP. But either way, I just think he's definitely the most valuable player on the Eagles, and especially deserving of being called the most valuable player in the league. That's why you can make the argument Saquon should have won MVP, but definitely Josh Allen is definitely pretty valuable to the Bills and to the obviously to the NFL. So I think the season that he had, he definitely proved to have a great season. So I think Josh Allen's definitely deserving of it.
Yeah, listen. When it comes to MVPs in sports, I take the survivor approach. Who represents your season the most? It was Saquon this year. Should have been him. Should have been him. Done. I don't know. And if you look at the stats, Lamar was better than Josh Allen. So I don't get that either. And I like Josh Allen a lot. But I don't know. It is what it is. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. He didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it.
At least he got Offensive Player of the Year, though. That's good, though.
Great.
Obviously, he was going to get that.
He should have been the MVP. Offensive Player of the Year could have gone to the quarterbacks. Whatever.
What you going to do? Kudos to Kevin O'Connell getting Coach of the Year. That was pretty cool. Obviously, losing Kirk Cousins, faced with epilemma, or however you want to call it.
I don't know. I think NFL Coach of the Year might be broken. I think Coach of the Year in sports in general might be broken. Because it's based on your team's expectations, right? Like the Vikings. So if you don't win Coach of the Year one year, you're not getting it the next year because now your expectations are higher. Therefore, in the equation to get Coach of the Year, you almost remove yourself. And I think this season's an excellent example of that. Well, I think Kevin O'Connell is a very good coach. Dan Campbell won the division that he faced Kevin O'Connell in, swept him in the regular season, didn't he?
They did.
And his defense was largely guys probably pushing shotgun cards. That's being a little rude at the end, but you get the point I'm trying to make.
I do.
It's all guys that were mostly no-name guys. Their leading sacker, I don't even know how to phrase that, hasn't played since October. They still won their division. Second most wins in the league. Is it really fair to him? Now, some people would say Dan Quinn from the Commanders. All right. That's fine too. But I also do think like when there's like a team that won 14 wins, but got 14 wins, but didn't win their division, and a team that won their division in the same division as the 14-win team, how are you going to sit there and say, well, they had all these different changes and stuff like that? I get it, but come on. You know what I mean?
I do.
Like, I mean, at that point, what do you got to do? Mike Tomlin's roster isn't good enough. I don't think that should be taken out on him. But the coach of the year to me was I was almost more interested in that than the other awards because I knew it was going to go to Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson and it was going to piss me off and there's nothing I could do about it.
Nothing you do.
But that one I felt like could be a little more interesting. Who got comeback player of the year? Because this award to me I think shouldn't even be a thing anymore.
Joe Burrow.
Oh, that's right. He got hurt last year. Yeah, that makes sense. I think the comeback player of the year thing, it being like the Joe Flacco thing last year when it's like, hey, if you sucked and you're out of the league, but you come back, you did technically come back, so you should get it. I don't know. I think that award is stupid. I think Michael Vick getting it after the dogfighting stuff, it just completely made a mockery of the award.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it's like the NBA most improved player. I don't count that anymore either. I just completely wrote that off.
Did you?
Yeah, it's stupid. When John Morant won it, he's the second overall pick behind Zion Williamson, who's one of the biggest prospects of the 21st century. Most improved player, how? Should have gone to Jordan Poole. Who was out of the NBA and played himself back into it and played himself back into a sixth-man role on a top 3 or 4 seed. At that point, what do you got to do? So,
all right.
Yeah.
For
a slow news week, maybe we could just go through. If Dennis was voting, what would he do? If Dennis's opinion actually mattered, what would he do?
I'm gonna say, I feel like we should talk about the Super Bowl quick, and I feel like maybe we'll wrap up the show tonight because it's getting a little late.
Yeah. And we did already talk about the Super Bowl last week, so I get it.
I'm
not
excited
about Super Bowl, but you are excited?
You know, like I said, the Super Bowl to me is like a holiday. Someone who loves football, I'll definitely watch it. I know there's going to be some people that aren't going to be watching it. They don't want to see the Chiefs. They don't want to see the Philly. They don't want to see the Eagles because they don't want to deal with the Philly fans. I get it. But the Super Bowl to me is still a holiday. I'm still going to watch it. It's the last football game of the year till August, at least. So, you know, and obviously we got the offseason and the draft. So I'll be looking forward to that stuff too as a Jet fan who doesn't get a lot of excitement. You know, the offseason is kind of where I get my excitement instead of the regular season, unfortunately. But like I said, you know, it's the last football game of the year. Why wouldn't I watch it? Watch a halftime show, get some wings, you know, relax my fam. You know, no other place I'd rather be. So that's what I'm excited for. Now, who I think is going to win, it's tough. Because both are good teams. Philly's good. I'm going to go with Philly. I think Saquon, or I don't know. You know what? No, I'm going to go with, no. I want to go with Philly, but I feel like the Chiefs are going to find a way to three-peat. So
I'm thinking Philly 31-27. It's
a good score.
High scoring affair. there's that.
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as my rationale for it, because I know people are, anybody could tell you who they think is going to win the Super Bowl. You have a 50% chance of getting it right. I just don't know if you could stop Saquon. If you can barely stop James Cook, and you can barely stop what's his name from the round before. Who did they play? How did I forget this?
Joe Mixon.
Yeah, there we go. How the hell are you going to stop Saquon Barkley? And if you manage to stop Saquon Barkley, that means Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, or A.J. Brown is open. Kind of hard to not get this far when you're the Eagles, to be honest. And then it's like you look at their defense and say, "Whoa, well, loaded with talent there too." And you look at their offensive line, it's like, "Wow, loaded with talent there too." If like the only thing they can improve upon is their kicker, I mean, I don't know. That's a pretty good spot to be in. It's like, oh, the rest of the roster is fine, but the kicker, he's mediocre. Yeah,
Right.
I think 32 out of 32 teams would take that.
I agree. All right.
So, but obviously, no disrespect to the Chiefs. We know Travis Kelce and Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid and whatnot, but it's like, after I heard that "Welcome to New York" song by Taylor Swift, I just can't, in good conscience, root for them.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I mean, you texted me that the other day. I was like, damn.
Yeah, I heard it in like a video on Instagram, like a meme video on Instagram, and I just thought to myself, I was like, "Is this real?" But it's like Instagram; they show like the audio now, right?
Yeah.
So you can save it or whatever. And it was, to my chagrin, it was real. Have you heard it?
Yes. Plenty of times.
It makes Rebecca Black's Friday sound like freaking November rain. It's like it is the worst song I've ever heard in my life. Like of actual pop songs, like a real song. It sounds like something that like girls in your elementary school would come up with and sing for like a week and will just annoy you with it and then just forget about the next week. It's like something like that. It's honestly it's an abomination to humanity is what it is. And at that point in time, as much as I like Travis Kelce, it's like I really don't like Patrick Mahomes. I've turned on him. I can't stand Kareem Hunt with a burning passion.
Yeah.
I can't stand Harrison Butker with a burning passion. So it's like it's just Travis Kelce I like and Andy Reid. Now they already got rings. I like Saquon. I can't stand Philly fans. But that song. Do you deserve happiness when you make that song? I don't know. It's an interesting philosophical question. Do you separate art from artist in terms of sports fandom? Interesting. Something for me to ponder over this weekend.
I agree. And I wish we would continue more with it, but I am getting a little exhausted, so I think we should wrap up.
That sounds like a good idea.
I thank everybody for tuning in to Sports Shack. My name is Brandon.
I'm Dennis.
And have a great weekend. Let's go enjoy the Super Bowl and jet up.
You're not playing. Where are you going up to?
Cancun.
Yeah. Jetting up to Cancun. Jetting down to Cancun.